Have you ever felt that you were born different? That you carry something special, even if you can't explain it? Sometimes it's just an impression. Other times it's a sign on your body that has drawn attention since forever. A mole in an unusual place, a stain that nobody else in the family has, a mark that appeared over time. And you feel that it is not just skin. It's as if it were a silent reminder. You have a calling. Some people look at these marks as coincidence, genetics, or something unimportant. But those who are sensitive to the spiritual know, some marks are not just physical. They are spiritual. They are visible signs of an invisible mission. Marks that God allows from birth to remind you that you have been set apart, that there is something greater waiting for you. It is not about mysticism or superstition. It is about discernment. It is about understanding that everything that is spiritual also reveals itself in some way in the natural. Your body is a temple, but it is also a map. And some clues about your purpose are drawn on it. That's why today we will talk about this with great wisdom and respect. If you have any birthmarks or have always felt that there is something different about you, perhaps you are beginning to understand why. In this video, we will talk about the signs that may indicate that you are a chosen one. Not to exalt you, but to awaken you. Because those who recognize their own calling begin to walk with more faith, more purpose, and more direction. Before we continue, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Here, we speak from soul to soul. If you feel that you are part of the chosen, this space was made for you. Shall we discover together what these marks reveal? Come with me. Maybe you have already noticed a small mole, right there between your eyebrows. A detail that, in the eyes of many, is just a common trait. But for those who carry spiritual sensitivity, this mark can be something much deeper. It is not just skin. It is a sign. It is a calling. It is spiritual memory. For generations, this area has been seen as an important point in spiritual life. In many cultures, it is called the third eye, a symbolic place where inner vision becomes active. When a mark appears at this point on the body, it may indicate that the soul carries a sensitivity above the ordinary. It is not a gift that is chosen. It is something that is born along with the person. Those who have this mark tend to perceive the world differently. Sometimes, even before they can understand what is happening, they already feel that something is wrong or right. They feel it in their body. They feel it in their spirit. It is as if they have a radar that picks up what the eyes do not show. This is not madness. This is spiritual sensitivity. People like this usually have strong intuition. They know when an environment is charged. They perceive when someone has a heavy heart, even if they are smiling. They may have dreams that come true, premonitions that are confirmed, and a connection with the invisible that cannot be explained logically. If you have experienced this, perhaps this mole between your eyebrows is just the tip of the iceberg of something that God has placed in you. This mark may also be accompanied by a restless mind. You think a lot, question a lot, seek to understand things that nobody around you is interested in. While others are distracted, you are absorbing everything, even the silences. And this sometimes tires you because not everyone understands this I that sees within. But calm down. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is a spiritual weapon. God gives this to people He can trust. It is not meant to overwhelm you. It is to use you as a channel. People with this mark usually have a mission: to reveal what is hidden, to bring awareness, to alert, to heal. When you arrive, something changes. Even without saying anything, your presence already disturbs what is hidden in the shadows. That's why you should not ignore this sensitivity. Do not think it is your exaggeration. You see what many do not see, because you have been set apart for this. But it is also important to learn to protect yourself. Those who feel too much need to take better care of their spirit. Prayer, silence, discernment. This will help you not absorb what is not yours. Another important thing. If you have this mark, you have probably gone through moments where you felt different, even out of place, as if no one understood you properly. This is common. The chosen often swim against the current. They have a perspective that does not fit with the ordinary view, and this can generate rejection, criticism, or even isolation. But know this, you are not alone. There are many like you, awakening, remembering who they are, noticing the clues that God left from the beginning. This mole between your eyebrows may be just one of them, a silent reminder that there is a greater plan. So if this mark is part of you and your story has been marked by deep perceptions, know that this is a sign of a calling. Take care of this gift, strengthen your spirit, and above all, trust what you feel, because God speaks to you in ways that others may never understand. You are not seeing too much. You are seeing what many still cannot. And this is part of your mission.
Some people are born with a small reddish mark on their forehead or at the back of their head, near the nape of the neck. Perhaps you or someone you know has one. Many people call it an angel's kiss or stork mark. In medicine, they say it's something common and unimportant. But spiritually, this mark carries a deep meaning, especially when it appears on someone who already feels they are not here by chance. Those born with this mark generally feel from a very early age that they are called to something greater. They may not know how to explain it in words, but there is a restlessness in their chest, a kind of urgency, as if there is an internal clock pointing to a mission that has not yet been fully revealed. This red mark is seen by many as a type of spiritual seal, a lit flame pointing to their life purpose. In spiritual language, red represents action, courage, and vital energy. It is no coincidence that those with this mark tend to be determined individuals who refuse to live a superficial life. They see where there is injustice, where there is imbalance, and feel the need to do something about it. They are souls who do not conform to what is wrong. They are the ones who disturb stagnant environments, shake up structures, and provoke change. This mark can also symbolize a soul agreement. Before coming into the world, your spirit accepted to carry a mission. And this mark would serve as a reminder of that, a visible reminder that you came with purpose, and that your life has a greater impact than you imagine. People with this mark tend to be natural leaders, even if they do not seek leadership. They do not need to speak loudly to be heard. Their presence inspires. Their conviction generates movement. Even in silence, they cause others to reflect. And when they speak, they usually awaken something in others, because their words are charged with truth and direction. However, this mark also carries weight. Carrying a calling is an honor, but it is also a challenge. Those born with a mission feel the pressure sooner. They tend to mature quickly. Often they go through painful processes to be shaped. It is not that you attract problems. It is that God is preparing you to carry something great. The struggles are aligned with the level of your purpose. It is common for these chosen ones to go through phases of confusion, trying to understand why they feel so much, why they are bothered by things that others ignore. But over time, everything begins to make sense. Pain forms strength. Discomfort turns into direction. Outrage becomes motivation to change what needs to be changed. Another important point. This mark may also indicate that you are someone who awakens others. Your life, your story, your decisions, all of this can serve as a beacon for those who are lost. You bring light to where there is routine, clarity to where there is doubt, and movement to where there is stagnation.
Your presence activates something in others, even without realizing it. So, if you have this mark on your forehead or at the nape of your neck, or if you know someone who does, observe closely. Ask yourself, do you feel that you were born for something greater? Do you have that feeling that your mission is still being revealed? If so, perhaps this mark is the confirmation you have been missing. Do not ignore this calling. The mark is there as a sign that you carry a flame. And this flame needs to be fed with prayer, spiritual searching, and conscious action. God is raising people with courage, purpose, and authority. And perhaps you are one of them. Few people in the world have a mole in the palm of their hand. It is something rare, and for many goes unnoticed. But spiritually, this little mark carries enormous weight. For the chosen ones, it can be one of the strongest signs of a very special gift, the ability to manifest in the physical world, that which comes from the spiritual. In other words, those who carry this mark have a calling to create, heal, touch, and transform with their own hands. From an early age, these people demonstrate abilities that seem to go beyond the normal. Sometimes, with a simple gesture, they already bring comfort. With an idea, they solve complex problems. With their presence, they organize chaos. They possess something that cannot be learned from books: practical sensitivity, active intuition, a direct connection between intention and realization. What they think, they end up creating. What they desire often happens, but not because they manipulate the world, but because they are in alignment with something greater. The mark in the palm of the hand is like a spiritual seal of authority. It is as if heaven is saying, "You have permission to act." People with this mark did not come into the world just to observe or merely reflect. They came to build, transform, and leave a real mark. They are like bridges between the invisible and the visible. They receive inspirations, visions, ideas, and have the rare ability to take all of this from the realm of dreams and put it into practice. Some call this luck, but those who have this mark know it is not just luck. It is a calling with responsibility. Everything you touch has the potential to grow, both the good and that which needs correction. That's why it is essential that the intention is always aligned with God's purpose. The same power that opens doors can also generate consequences if used unconsciously. These people are often seen as natural achievers. Where others only see problems, they see solutions. Where most see limits, they visualize paths. This happens because the mind of those with this gift operates in connection with the soul. Thought is not disconnected from action. There is a natural coherence between what is dreamed and what is done. Another common characteristic among those with this mark is the desire to help others bloom. Many of these people end up becoming therapists, teachers, leaders, spiritual guides, or professionals who work directly with human development. They have hands that heal, sometimes literally, other times symbolically. A hug, a touch, a word from them can change someone's day. It can even change destinies. However, carrying the seal of manifestation requires care. It is important to take care of your energy, maintain your connection with God, and protect your spiritual field. Because those who have the gift of opening doors also attract attention from the spiritual world. The enemy knows of your power to realize and will try to distract, delay, or confuse your mind. If you have this mole in the palm of your hand, or if you feel that everything you touch blooms, even without realizing it, take this as a reminder of who you are. You are someone who carries in your hands the answer to the prayers of many people. You have the authority to create, build, and guide. But you also have the mission to keep your heart clean, your intention pure, and your feet firm in purpose. Use this gift wisely. Pray before you act. Listen before you decide. Remember that true manifestation is not about doing for the sake of doing. It is about building something that glorifies heaven and transforms the earth. Your hands are instruments, and if they are guided by God, there is no limit to the good you can accomplish. Some people feel what no one else feels. They enter a place and immediately sense that something is off. The body reacts, the mind becomes restless, and the soul gives signs even before any words are spoken. If this happens to you, know this: it is not weakness, it is spiritual sensitivity. And if you carry this sensitivity, you can be sure you are not ordinary, you are a chosen one. The chosen ones have something that cannot be explained by human logic. They have a radar within themselves. While others pass unnoticed through heavy places, you feel the weight. While others think everything is fine, you already sense that something is out of place. Your spirit communicates with the environment, and your body responds. That's why, many times, you arrive in a place and feel tired for no reason. Or you talk to someone and leave with a headache, a heavy chest, or a sadness that wasn't yours. This happens because your soul is open to perceive the invisible. It is not about mediumship or mystical gifts. It is spiritual sensitivity, given by God to protect you and also to help others. You feel before you see. And this is a great responsibility. Your body becomes an instrument. It warns you when the energy is heavy. It signals when something is unbalanced. And when this happens, many don't understand. Some even say that you are being exaggerated, that you are too sensitive, that you are being affected by everything. But you know that it is not quite like that. You feel what others cannot see. Sometimes this sensitivity can isolate you. Because when you share what you feel, they do not always believe you. They may even think it is all in your head. But God made you this way for a purpose. This sensitivity is part of your mission. You perceive what no one else perceives because perhaps you are the one who will pray for that place, that person, that situation. You are the one who will act in silence, with wisdom, while others are completely unaware of what is happening. And how do you deal with this? First, do not reject this gift. Do not fight against it. Embrace this sensitivity as something that God has entrusted to you. Then, learn to take care of yourself. Chosen people who feel deeply also need to learn how to protect themselves. Prayer, fasting, praise, time with God, all of this is a shield. You need to keep your soul strong so that you do not become contaminated by what you feel. It is also important to recognize your limits. Not every place is for you. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every person can walk close to you. Your sensitivity requires that you be selective, not out of pride, but for preservation. Those who feel too much need to choose wisely where they step. And when the energy of a place or person becomes heavy, give that to God. Do not carry it alone. You were not called to absorb everything, but to perceive and intercede. The prayer of a chosen one has power. Sometimes just by being present in an environment, you change everything. Your light alters the atmosphere. Your spirit brings balance, and this happens without you having to say a word. Remember, spiritual sensitivity is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are spiritually alive. And those who are alive feel. You feel in order to act with wisdom. You feel in order to protect. You feel in order to heal. God entrusted this sensitivity to you for a reason. Use it with discernment. Strengthen your faith. And never be ashamed of feeling what others ignore, because it is exactly this that makes you different. It is exactly this that makes you a chosen one. There are people who do not need to say anything to transform the environment. Their simple presence brings peace, relief, and comfort. It is as if they carry a gentle light that enters quietly and heals the dark corners of the souls of others. If you have ever been told that there is something different in your gaze, in the calm way you speak, or if people confide in you without even understanding why, perhaps you are one of those souls, a child of light. These chosen ones are different from a young age. They are the children who look at the world with compassion, who prefer silence to fights, who cry when they see someone suffering. Even in difficult environments, they maintain a sweetness that seems not to fade over time. It is as if their hearts are programmed to love, without learning, without copying. They love because it is natural. This mark does not appear on the skin. It reveals itself in behavior. It is in the way you listen, in the care with which you choose your words, in the ability to welcome without judgment. It is a kindness that is not forced. It simply exists. But this light that warms also carries a challenge. Often those who shine in this way are used as support by everyone, but rarely have someone to lean on. These pure souls feel the weight of others, even when no one notices. And because they are calm, they end up being forgotten in their own pain. If this happens to you, know this: God knows you. He sees your dedication, your lightness, your sincerity. You are one of those lights that He planted in the world to remind that true love still exists. And even when the journey seems lonely, remember that you will never be alone. The light you carry is proof that God chose you to radiate, even on days when you feel dim inside. Keep being light. Even if no one recognizes it, God recognizes it, and that is enough. There are eyes that speak even before the mouth does. Eyes that not only look but see, that penetrate appearances and reach what many cannot even name. Perhaps you have felt this. You look at a person and already understand what they did not say. You perceive sadness in the smile, see loneliness in the midst of the crowd, feel pain in gazes that try to seem strong. If this happens to you, it may be that the mark of the chosen one is there, in your gaze. Some have different eyes from birth, an unusual color, a mark, a brightness that is hard to explain. But more than their physical appearance, what matters is what your eyes reveal and what they are capable of capturing. You see what others ignore, and this sensitivity is a gift. Many think it is just intuition, but it is not just that. It is spiritual vision. It is the ability to read people's souls, to perceive what is behind words, gestures, and even silences. The chosen ones with this mark in their eyes tend to be guardians of truth. They do not judge but discern. They do not expose but illuminate. This mission, however, can be lonely, because when you see too much, you cannot always disconnect. Sometimes you see so much, feel so much, that it becomes difficult to explain what is happening inside. But even so, God entrusted this vision to you for a reason. Because the world needs people who see beyond the surface, people who help reveal what has been hidden, who show the way to those walking in darkness. If your gaze has ever been called intense or deep, do not doubt. It is a mark. And it is not just for you to see the world. It is to help the world see the truth. Use this vision wisely, because those who see with the soul illuminate with the spirit. If you have made it this far and felt that something inside you has been touched, it may be because these marks speak more than appearance. They speak of your essence. It doesn't matter if they are on your body or in the way you feel the world. They exist as reminders of who you are and what you came here to do. The marks that the chosen ones carry are not meant to draw attention, but to remind them of their mission. They are silent hints of a calling that begins early, often before we even understand. Sometimes it is that sensitivity that no one understands, that feeling of not belonging anywhere, that constant desire to help, to heal, to seek meaning in everything. But recognizing these marks is just the first step. What God expects from the chosen ones is not perfection, but surrender. He expects you to use what you carry, even if it seems small, to transform the little into much with faith, to take your light where there is a lack of direction, to serve as a channel of healing, comfort, and awakening. These marks are invitations for you to remember who you are and to live accordingly. Even if the path is lonely, even if the world does not understand, the calling is inside you, and it will not be silenced. It pulls you, nudges you, guides you. Because those who are chosen know, even if they cannot explain it. Now tell me, do you identify with any of these marks or signs? Comment below. Let's strengthen this community of light and purpose. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving messages that awaken and empower God's chosen ones. Your mission is unique. Your light is necessary. Your time is now.